Imagine waking up in the middle of the night. The room is dark, but your mind is wide awake. A thought crosses your mind like a shadow. What's the point of all this? You can't explain where it came from, but suddenly, everyday worries, work, bills, deadlines, seem trivial compared to that deeper unease. The silence is loud, the questions relentless. Why am I here? What happens when it all ends? Does my life have meaning? Or is it just passing time until the inevitable? This quiet panic is not just your burden. It is what many psychologists and philosophers call existential anxiety. Unlike stress from work or fear of loss, existential anxiety arises from the sheer fact of existence itself. And here's the unsettling truth. It's everywhere. It's not as visible as depression or as diagnosable as trauma, but it runs like an underground current through millions of lives. It's a silent epidemic. Most people don't talk about it. It hides behind jokes, distractions, endless scrolling, or busy schedules. But at night, or during moments of quiet, it re-emerges. You feel it when you sense the fragility of life, when you watch someone you love age, or when success doesn't fill the void you thought it would. So what exactly is existential anxiety? Why is it silently spreading through modern life? And is there a way to face it without being consumed by it? Let's start with a simple definition. Existential anxiety is not a clinical disorder in itself. It's a deep unease rooted in the human condition, our awareness that life is finite, uncertain, and often without clear answers. Unlike other forms of anxiety, it doesn't point to an immediate threat. It doesn't warn you about danger around the corner. Instead, it whispers about the inescapable truths: death, freedom, isolation, and meaning, or the lack of it. The Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard, often called the father of existentialism, wrote that anxiety is the dizziness of freedom. When we realize that we alone are responsible for our choices, that nothing guarantees we're on the right path, we feel a kind of vertigo. Similarly, Martin Heidegger described anxiety, angst, as the moment when the everyday world loses its familiarity, revealing the raw fact that we're beings toward death. These aren't abstract ideas. They show up in daily life. Think about the unease you feel after achieving something you thought would bring fulfillment, only to find the satisfaction fades. Or the strange hollowness of scrolling through endless updates and entertainment, knowing none of it touches the deeper hunger inside. That's existential anxiety peeking through. Why is this anxiety becoming such an epidemic today? After all, humans have always grappled with death and meaning. Why now does it feel sharper, heavier, more widespread? One reason is modern disconnection. For much of history, religion, tradition, and community provided ready-made frameworks for meaning. Life was anchored in rituals, in shared stories, in the belief that existence fit into a larger cosmic order. Today, many of those anchors are gone, or questioned. We live in an age of unprecedented freedom, but also unprecedented loneliness. Without shared myths to guide us, we're left to face the vastness of existence largely on our own. Another factor is the culture of comparison. Social media has created a relentless mirror. You see curated versions of everyone else's lives, success, beauty, adventures, while your own moments of doubt or emptiness feel invisible and isolating. Beneath the envy lies a deeper question. If everyone else seems happy, why am I still restless? Is something wrong with me, or with life itself? Then there's the pressure of choice. Modern life offers endless options: what career to pursue, who to date, where to live, what identity to embrace. Freedom is liberating, but it also means there's no map. Every decision carries the weight of ultimate responsibility. This is Kierkegaard's dizziness, the anxiety that arises not from having too little, but from having too much. And finally, there's awareness of global crises. Climate change, wars, economic uncertainty. The future feels unstable. It's hard to find comfort in long-term plans when tomorrow itself feels precarious. Deep down, you ask, what kind of world are we building, and what role do I have in it? All of this combines into a background hum of unease. It doesn't always scream. Sometimes it's just a whisper behind your thoughts. But like an untreated wound, it lingers, and millions quietly carry it every day. Now let's step deeper into the psychology. Existential anxiety often circles around four central themes, sometimes called the ultimate concerns of existence, a concept outlined by the existential psychologist Irvin Yalom. The first is death. No matter how much we distract ourselves, we can't escape the fact that life ends. Death anxiety shows up in subtle ways. Fear of aging, obsession with health, even the urge to achieve as much as possible before time runs out. The second is freedom. On the surface, freedom sounds positive, but real freedom, being the author of your own life, comes with no guarantees. No one can tell you which choices are right. That responsibility can feel crushing. The third is isolation. Even in close relationships, there is a part of us that remains unshared, unreachable. We are, in the deepest sense, alone in our consciousness. This doesn't mean we can't connect with others, but it means no one else can fully carry the burden of our existence. The fourth is meaninglessness. If life is finite, if the universe is vast and indifferent, then what is the purpose of it all? This question has haunted every civilization, every thinker. And in our era, stripped of easy answers, it returns in raw form. These concerns are not illnesses to be cured. They are conditions of being human. The silent epidemic isn't that we have these anxieties. It's that we've stopped giving ourselves permission to face them openly. What happens when we suppress existential anxiety instead of confronting it? Often, it turns into restlessness. You chase constant stimulation, new experiences, new purchases, new relationships, hoping the void will stay hidden. Or it transforms into burnout, that feeling of being drained even when nothing is wrong. For some, it manifests as addiction, the attempt to silence the silence with substances or distractions. And for others, it appears as vague dissatisfaction, the sense that life is slipping by without depth. The irony is that trying to avoid existential anxiety often makes it worse. It leaks through the cracks. The only way forward is not to escape it, but to engage it, to see it not as a curse, but as a signal. So what can we do? How do we live with existential anxiety without being paralyzed by it? The first step is acknowledgement. Naming it removes some of its power. When you realize that the unease you feel is not just personal weakness, but part of the human condition, it becomes less isolating. You're not broken. You're awake. The second step is reflection. Philosophy and psychology suggest turning toward the very questions that cause anxiety. Instead of running from thoughts of death, ask, how does awareness of mortality change how I live today? Instead of fearing meaninglessness, ask, if meaning isn't given, how can I create it? Here's where Stoicism offers a powerful tool. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius meditated daily on mortality, not to despair, but to sharpen gratitude. By facing death, they found clarity about what truly matters. In the same way, existential anxiety, when embraced, can push us toward deeper living. The third step is connection. While isolation is part of existence, we are also wired for relationships. Sharing your anxieties with trusted friends, communities, or even through art makes the burden lighter. As the poet Rainer Maria Rilke wrote, "Perhaps everything terrible is in its deepest being something helpless that wants help from us." By expressing existential unease, we transform it from something isolating into something that unites. The fourth step is creation of meaning. Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist, wrote that humans can endure almost any suffering if they have a sense of purpose. Meaning doesn't need to be grand. It can be caring for a child, creating art, contributing to a cause, or simply living authentically. Existential anxiety becomes less crushing when it fuels us to build meaning rather than wait for it to appear. And the fifth step is acceptance of uncertainty. Life's big questions may never be fully answered. But maybe that's the point. Maybe the mystery is what makes life profound. As Alan Watts once said, "The mystery of life is not a problem to be solved, but a reality to be experienced." So here's the paradox. Existential anxiety feels like a curse, but it can also be a gift. It reminds us that life is fragile, that our time is short, that what we do matters. It pushes us to peel away the superficial and ask what's real. Without it, we might drift numbly through existence. With it, we're forced to live more consciously. The epidemic is not that we feel it. The epidemic is that we silence it, deny it, or drown it in distractions. But if we can bring it into the light, it stops being just anxiety. It becomes awakening. So the next time you feel that late-night unease, don't run. Sit with it. Ask what it's trying to tell you. Let it remind you of the preciousness of your days, of the urgency of love, of the beauty hidden in ordinary moments. Existential anxiety is not proof that life is meaningless. It's proof that you long for meaning, and that longing itself is deeply human. If this exploration stirred something in you, if you felt that silent weight too, don't keep it hidden. Join this journey with us. Like, share, and subscribe so we can keep peeling back the layers of what it means to be human. Because these are not just abstract ideas, they are questions we all carry. And together we can face them not as a burden, but as a path toward deeper living.